Hey guys, this is NateFNGreat, and you're listening to the Game Changer podcast. This is the review for AEW Double or Nothing. I'm not going to do too much in the way of, fanfare, music, stuff like that, because I wanted to keep this review pretty simple. Honestly, because AEW Double or Nothing deserves that. It deserves to be kept simple. It is a fantastic show. I'm already going to tell you right now, I give it an A+ overall. Before I get into the matches, it was one of those shows that really helped you just feel good as a wrestling fan. And even though there are some matches that people can criticize or they can say it was meh, all in all, as a wrestling fan, I enjoyed every single bit of it. It was a lot of fun to watch these guys just put on one of the best shows of the year, if not the best show of the year, and I definitely will say that Double or Nothing is my number one favorite show of this year, next to WrestleMania. I know that they're going to try and do that with the, Super Showdown coming up on Friday, but I do not see Super Showdown even coming close to touching this event. So this was the first ever event under the AEW banner, and actually this is the second event that the company actually produced, because the first one was All In Chicago last year, and I will also say this, that they've also promoted All Out for Chicago in August. So they'll be coming back to the Sears Center on August 31st, and I believe it's the June 12th or June 14th, I believe it was, that they're selling tickets for that. So for those of you that are looking forward to seeing the guys in AEW coming back to Chicago, you don't have to wait too much longer than that. They still have Fight Fest going on in a couple months in Orlando, Florida. So they're really starting to pick up a whole head of steam. And the pieces were slowly getting into place with this event. On commentary, we had Alex Marvez, Jim Ross, and Excalibur, who I love seeing these guys just calling matches right in the ring. They weren't even trying to, focus on any other storylines. They weren't talking about anything that was irrelevant to the matches that were going on here. They, all in all, just were very focused on there. I know a lot of people were saying that JR was kind of all over the place, that Mark was kind of like a fan in the commentary booth, which, all honesty, I'm okay with, because you need to have that genuine feeling of excitement than to just feel like you're having somebody feeding you these random notes that they want you to hit on. Because, all in all, we have to remember, you have to be a fan of the product. And if this guy is so wound up in this event that he's a fan of the product, then good. It means he's enjoying it. And people are saying that Excalibur was kind of like the highlight of the trio. Honestly, all three of them did a fantastic job. So for you guys, great job calling AEW last night. You did great. So we go into the first matchup that actually started on the pre-show, which was the Casino Battle Royale. And the winner was going to receive a shot at the AEW Championship, which, trust me, I'm going to get into in a little bit later. This Battle Royal, I did not get a chance to watch in its entirety. I got about halfway through when they were doing it. But from what I saw, all the competitors in this match were great. You saw Tommy Dreamer, Luchasaurus. Oh my God, is that guy ever just a gargantuan beast? He also chokeslammed Joey Janela on the outside through a table, which I think was one of the most extreme moments by far of the night. I legit was thinking, oh boy, we're going to get a repeat of All In again, aren't we? It ended with Hangman Page, who was scheduled to face off against Pac, but unfortunately Pac was unable to make the event due to injury, I believe it was. He eliminated MJF, and he is going to get the title shot at the next event happening in July. So the only other question was, who was going to be his opponent? Was it going to be Chris Jericho, or was it going to be Kenny Omega? Well, trust me, guys, when we get to that matchup, we have that question answered. Overall, I gave this Battle Royal a B+. It served its purpose. You had a lot of really good spots here and there. It was just a fantastic, fantastic Battle Royal. Next up, we have Sammy Guevara against Kip Sabian. I've never seen Kip Sabian wrestle until this event here. And my God, was he ever just fantastic. And I love Sammy Guevara. He is one of those guys that I just grew to really enjoy watching during the Lucha Underground seasons, and he's definitely building up into a bigger star. You see a lot of high flying, fast paced action, some really good submission maneuver during the matchup. I believe Kip Sabian locked in what I think was like a modified, almost like Indian deathlock per se. I will also say that Sammy Guevara also pulled off a really great power slam, followed up by 2 false moonsaults, and then connecting with a standing shooting star press, which was amazing. They did a suplex spot on the outside, which was great. We saw even Sammy Guevara do a shooting star press on a prone Kip on the barricade. It was a brutal spot, but it was really cool. But in the end, we saw Sammy Guevara unfortunately hit the 630 on Kip Sabian's knees, and then he got drilled with a reverse burning hammer driver, I believe it was. It was a burning hammer driver, I should just say that right now, which allowed Kip Sabian to pick up the win. I gave this one a solid B. This was another really good matchup. I loved the fact that these two individuals are the first things that you see under the AEW banner. They really hyped up the fact that this is the first singles match in AEW's history. And what a matchup, though. It does get better from here, you guys, so you got nothing to worry about. We actually start off with the first matchup here, which was SCU, which you saw Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky defeating Strong Hearts, which was Shima, T-Hawk, and El Lindemann. I expected nothing less from this matchup, and I got more from this matchup than what I was expecting. We saw a lot of really great tag team maneuvers. We saw a lot of really great technical style. Sky was going to go for a drop kick, but I countered into a powerbomb, which I thought was really innovative. Saw some great tag team spots from both of these teams. It ended with the best Meltzer ever, which was Frankie Kazarian doing a tombstone pile driver while Daniels did the BME, the best moonsault ever, on to him for the victory. This match was the best way to start off the main card. Honestly, I gave it a solid A. And usually I don't give those kind of gradings to these kind of matches, but this was a 6-man tag match that just absolutely killed it. All 6 of these competitors definitely showcased what they were all about, and they were just absolutely phenomenal. It was just a great way to start off the show, and I'm very fortunate that so many of us got the chance to see that. So we go into the next matchup, which was the triple threat match between Kylie Rae, Nyla Rose, and Britt Baker. But out comes Brandy Rose, who is wearing ring attire. She's got the jacket that says Chief Brandy, which she talks a lot about that during the event, which I thought was also kind of cool. She said that she wanted this matchup to be great, and she had no doubt that this match was going to be great. But she wanted to make it awesome. And we, of course, hear theme music playing, to which I'm thinking, wow, they're adding a 4th competitor in this. Who could that possibly be? I'm sure a lot of people knew right off the bat what they were thinking, but for me, I literally just jaw-dropped, absolutely flabbergasted, because when she said awesome, she mean adding an Awesome Kong. So Awesome Kong gets added to this matchup, creating this into a fatal 4-way, and it plays off really well. We had Nyla Rose and Awesome Kong. They just were, the powerhouses. And you have Kylie Rae and Britt Baker. They're, the fast-paced, kind of technical style. These four women just complemented each other so well. They all had chemistry with each other. It was absolutely great to see that. There was a spot that I kind of got concerned about because it looked like Britt Baker landed on her head. She was caught by Awesome Kong in a power slam position, and Kylie Rae does like the suicide dive onto Awesome Kong, and when she goes down, it looks like she kind of almost dropped Britt Baker on her head. I was kind of concerned about that, but thankfully I looked at the move, and it looked like she did pretty well. She was able to finish the matchup. Thankfully, she didn't, hold her neck or hold her head, but it just looked like one of those spots where it's like, oh, that's probably going to cause a bit of concussion. The showcase here was Kylie Rae and Britt Baker, in all honesty. There were points during the matchup where we had, Nyla Rose, Awesome Kong demonstrating powerhouse deals, but it wasn't fully, but everybody got their own spots in. I think that was the cool part about this. We get a Tower of Doom spot in this matchup, which, holy cow, I'm always grateful to see those spots because they're just so really cool to see, and just the amount of impact they had. Nyla Rose got the worst of it with a double superplex by Kylie Rae and Britt Baker, and then Awesome Kong just decided, I'm going to get on this. I'm going to do a double powerbomb to these two ladies. It was amazing. We see one thing I loved was that they called the Kylie Rae German suplex the Empress suplex. I thought that was really cool because it does kind of give that move a little bit more variety with a different name. So Nyla Rose takes out Awesome Kong. We see Kylie Rae get so close to winning, but it is with Britt Baker that she picks up the win. She does that suplex into the knee, which is kind of reminiscent of a certain great superstar, Bebe. I call it the AC driver for obvious reasons. So Britt Baker picks up the victory. And honestly, I gave this matchup a B+. The one thing that I said during this matchup was that it was already going to get a high grading just because of the added notch that they put on here, where they had the Awesome Kong added to the matchup. And what an addition she added on there, because now you had two powerhouses in this against two fast-paced wrestlers, and they all complemented each other. So this was really great, and I am looking forward to seeing what the women's division provides for us going into the future in AEW, because right now it's already just fantastic. We go into the next match, which is a tag team match. We have the Best Friends taking on Jack Evans and Angelico. I like this matchup. I think this is where a lot of people were just saying, this match was meh. I don't think so, because you got Angelico and Jack Evans, who have a lot of history in Lucha Underground. For me, that already established them as a team for me. And of course, you got the Best Friends, Trent Barreta and Chuck Taylor, who Trent Barreta, we kind of have seen him showcasing his stuff in Japan. He's also been showcasing his stuff around the world. You also have Chuck Taylor, who, like I've said, one of the funniest guys and one of the most entertaining guys that I have seen in this event. And he just does a fantastic job. He really does. So this matchup I thought was really good. There were a lot of really brutal spots, like Angelico doing that crucifix bomb onto the top turnbuckle. I think it was to Trent Barreta. It was a very brutal spot, and it's just absolutely fantastic seeing these guys just lay it out there. Like I said, great matchup, great teamwork by both of these guys. We saw, Chuck Taylor and Trent Barreta did this kind of doomsday device, but instead of the clothesline, Trent Barreta used a knee to the face, and that was pretty brutal. But it was the teamwork of Trent Barreta and Chuck Taylor that got them the victory, and it was a really great matchup for these guys. Then the lights go out, lights come back on. We see these two random individuals just coming into the ring. One's wearing almost like this purple attire. Another one has a mask on. He looks very pudgy, very big, almost like a bowling ball. Lights go out again. Lights come back on, and we just see this horde of minions all around the ring, grabbing at Angelico and Chuck Taylor. They're beating them down. We see the other guys beating down on Trent Barreta and Jack Evans. They're just beating down all four of these individuals. Boom, boom, boom. And fans are just chanting, "Who are you? Who are you?" And I'm thinking the same thing, like, who the hell are these guys? And this was probably the one thing I had an issue when it came to the announcing, is that one of them seemed to know. I think it might have been Mark who did that. But it just, it frustrated me, because it was like, we don't know who these guys are, and you're not even going to tell us because somehow you know. But one of them is just hyping it, like, "Oh man, these guys are here. These is going to be really good." And JR is like just continually asking, "Who are these guys? Who are these guys? Who are these guys?" To the point where it's like, we get it. Just tell, who the hell are these guys? And fans didn't know either. Probably certain fans, but there was enough fans that were just like, "Who the hell are these guys?" to get a "Who are you?" chant. So, yeah, it just was one of those things. It's just really weird. I don't know. I think they were called like the Super Smash Bros. Or something like that. I've never heard of these guys. Then we go into, in all honesty, this was probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite matchup of the whole night. And that was the 6-woman tag team matchup. All these women coming from Japan. We had Hikaru Shida, Ryo Abe, and Ryo Mizunami. They defeated Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura. This was a very physical matchup between these women. All 6 of these women definitely played into a fantastic matchup. Main story I think that went on through here was that a lot of these women, they're just trying to, basically get out of the shadow, out of the limelight of Aja Kong, who just wanted to teach, her students a lesson. A lot of really great moments in this one. I will say this, that Rio was kind of the highlight for me, because she was not only probably one of the youngest women in there, but somebody mentioned that she was 21 and she had 13 years of experience in the ring. So somebody's telling me that she's been wrestling since she was 8 years old. You have got to be kidding me. That's kind of badass, and that's kind of amazing. So she was kind of like the standout for me. It was as good of a matchup that you would expect from these women in Japan. There's a lot of stiff works, a lot of really brutal spots. You see, women just basically, doing backbreakers and slams and stuff like that. It was just really good. You even see backhands. There was a moment where we saw a trash can and a kendo stick in a fight, and the trash can somehow won. I literally was like, wow, this is crazy, this is stupid, but this is like the most entertaining, stupid thing you'll see. A lot of really great moments in this matchup, and we see, I believe it was, I'm trying to remember who the victor was. There was a lot going on here. It was hard for me to keep up with so much of this matchup, but yeah, like I said, team, I predicted them, and I called them, Team Mizunami. They picked up the victory. It was just a fantastic matchup. I gave this one a solid A. There was no way that I was going to have it be anything less than that. It was just fantastic. It was fun. It was great. Some people were just kind of bored by it. I was not. I was thoroughly entertained by that. We had kind of some moments where some of the wrestlers in there definitely felt like they were part of like some kind of anime in Japan, but it was just so much fun. It was a very fun matchup between these people, and I really liked it. We go into the next matchup, which is Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. Before we even get into talking about the matchup, we have to talk about oh my gosh. It starts off with this kind of like golden funnel in the center of the entrance ramp. It lifts up, and we just see a throne that looks very familiar to the Triple H throne that he did, I believe it was for WrestleMania 22, 2, I believe it was. And Cody came out. He looks like he's dressed up like Adam from Beauty and the Beast. I believe that's who they refer to him as. He came down to ringside. Brandy was coming out too, and she pulls out a sledgehammer. She gives it to Cody. Cody grabs the sledgehammer, turns around, goes right up the ramp. People already can see what's going to be happening here. And we see Cody bashing the throne with the sledgehammer. Now, here's where people kind of call BS on this, because it's not the representation, which I want to talk about in just a minute, but basically it was just like a one-shot sledgehammer shot, and it's like the entire throne just fell apart. So that was kind of where people are calling like, oh, that's stupid. Come on. But I compared it on Twitter as like a representation of all the negativity that he had from WWE, all the negativity he probably had from people like Triple H and Vince McMahon. He basically was burying that because now he's a part of a wrestling company that's part of a revolution. So he's kind of taken that, he's burying it, and I literally said, kill it tonight, Cody. And they did. Him and Dustin had a really good matchup. During the matchup, Goldust was setting up for Shattered Dreams, but Cody decided to undo the second turnbuckle to basically prevent Goldust from even Dustin from even trying that. I'm so used to him being Goldust that I'm starting to call him that. No, Dustin. Goldust is WWE. Dustin is AEW. Okay, we're good. So Cody throws Dustin into the second exposed turnbuckle, and then he goes to deal with Brandy. Brandy hits Dustin with a spear. Earl Hebner is refereeing this, and this is why I love Earl Hebner. The way that he just officiates is just amazing. Earl basically sees what happens with Brandy. She's trying to play it like, oh no, I didn't do anything. You're just old man. You don't know what you're talking about. Earl sends her off. And I think there was even a point where he shoves her. I was thinking, dude, Earl Hebner don't give two bits of a rat's ass about anything. Then out comes DDP. He tries to basically say, okay, you need to go to the back. You need to respect the official. Brandy's not having any of it. Then DDP's like, okay. Picks up Brandy, takes her away. We get the one-on-one matchup between Dustin and Cody, which, oh my God, so after that spear, then we start seeing the after effects of what happened with the turnbuckle, and Dustin is just bleeding like no other. There were even points where people where the announcers were saying like it's like a waterfall of blood just coming off of his face, and Cody just found ways to try and make it even worse, where he's just hitting him in the face, he's just kicking him, he's punching him, he's just doing that, trying to almost aggravate the cut even more. And it just got really brutal. I will say this, as time went on, the audience was just basically in shock. They were in complete, absolute shock. They were in horror. There were probably even some that were just saying, like, stop the matchup, just stop it, because he's getting to be too much. And even JR was saying, that the referees are there to protect the athletes. So if he says to stop, then he's doing it to protect Dustin. But Dustin kept going. He kept going. We see the final cut, that lift-up suplex, corkscrew suplex that he does for a 2 count. Cody hits the first crossroads for a close 2 count. Dustin gets up. He hits a crossroads on Cody for a close 2 count. Finally, Cody's able to hit his second crossroads for the 3 count. Cody picks up the victory and supposedly ends the Attitude Era by beating his brother Dustin. And of course, people are chanting, thank you, Dustin, thank you, Dustin, thank you, Dustin. Cody grabs a mic and he says, no, you are not ending your career here. You're not ending your career tonight, because next event that we have is in Florida, and I have a matchup against the Young Bucks, and I want a tag team partner. I don't need a partner. I don't need a friend. I just need my brother. Basically confirming that the Rhodes brothers are reuniting for this event. We get an embrace from these two. Dustin is just beaten, battered, bloody, but this basically confirms that we're getting the Rhodes brothers one more time against the Young Bucks in July. That was a really good moment. You see, and Cody was getting choked up while doing this promo. He just started, getting teary-eyed. His voice started cracking. He was just wanting to, say, hey, let's go be a team. Let's be a brotherly duo one more time. And this was amazing. I loved this moment. This was a great matchup, and this is one of those things where it's like WWE, you could have had this matchup, but you decided against it because you thought that it wasn't going to draw anything. You were wrong. It drew a lot of money. It drew a lot of people. They wanted to see that, and you got such great raw reaction from these people. It was just a fantastic, fantastic match. I gave it a solid A. It was another great matchup. I loved the chemistry. I loved the storytelling that they told here. I think that this is one of the few times where I thought the blood was maybe a little too excessive, but it definitely brought that raw emotion to the crowd that they were just like, whoa, this is getting more brutal. This is getting more personal than what we thought it would be. It was just, wow, just absolutely incredible. We go into the belt presentation, and who would present the belt? Why, Bret the Hitman Hart, who made a cameo, and people are just, freaking out. They're like, holy shit, this is amazing. We have Bret calling on Hangman Page to show off and showcase the title. MJF comes out. He makes a joke about Bret Hart and the whole fan deal at the Hall of Fame, which I was definitely not for. I was probably one of the many that were just like, no, dude, come on, that's not funny. So MJF basically says, Hangman Page, you're basically like a workhorse. Why don't we put you down? Why don't you give me your spot to become the champion? Because he talks about that he is going to be the greatest of all time. And Hangman Page basically tries to go after MJF. MJF is just like, no, I don't feel like it. He gets blocked off by Jungle Boy and then by Jimmy Havoc, who basically helped beat him down. And after this beatdown commences, we see Bret Hart presenting the AEW Championship, which honestly, it looks a bit like the Gift of the Gods title from Lucha Underground. It's a very huge championship, but it looks absolutely beautiful. A lot more beautiful than the 24/7 title, if I can be honest. It's something that just looks really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing who becomes the first ever AEW champion, who holds that gold, because it is just, again, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Next up, we go into the Triple A tag team title matchup between the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. One of the things that they really hit on this was that the Lucha Brothers have the advantage because they've been wrestling a lot more, and the Young Bucks have been kind of out for about months, so they've probably had some ring rust. For guys who had quote-unquote ring rust, they kind of did a pretty good job, to say the least. But this is also something that a lot of people have been definitely having issues with. I'll tell you this right now, it's a matchup that is still really good. A lot of great tag team sequences, a lot of great moments where you see Phoenix and Pentagon just killing it with the Young Bucks. It ended with a Pentagon doing, the arm break to one of the Young Bucks, I think it was Max Buck, and even with a battered arm, Max Buck was able to hold up Pentagon for the Meltzer driver for the victory. The Young Bucks retain. I gave it a solid A. I loved this matchup. I thought it was really good. I don't agree with the finish, but at the same time, with the showcase that they put on, this was an absolutely fantastic matchup. There are some people that probably say, it's a matchup that was ruined by the finish. I disagree. It was a great matchup. I loved everything that they did. Storytelling was a little off at times, but maybe that was because they brought in that whole, the Young Bucks are kind of rusty because they haven't really done anything since, blah, 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 blah. But it's one of those things where it's even with that weird storyline telling, it still was a really good matchup. And it lived up to my expectations. Now, would I say that it's better than the Lucha Brothers match with LAX? Would I say that this was their better matchup? Well, I don't think I would go that far. I will say that. I think that their match against LAX was a bit better, but I will say that it is kind of sharing the same thing in which the Lucha Brothers just deserved the victory on both accounts. It just makes sense to me. So, we go into the main event, which is Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega 2. And basically, this is probably one of the more physical matches that you'll see. We see Chris Jericho literally just getting Kenny Omega to the point where it just seems like he's just trying to bust Kenny Omega's ribs. He busts his nose. I think he might have busted his mouth. He just was an absolute monster in this matchup. Even there was a point where Kenny Omega got thrown through a table, and this was this wasn't a no DQ matchup. That was just a deal where it was like, oh hey, there's a table on the outside set up for no reason other than just set up for a table spot. But it was an awesome table spot though. Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho put on a really great classic matchup. I've not gotten a chance to see their matchup at, I think it was at Wrestle Kingdom last year. Yes. So it's one of those matches where I can't say that, this matchup was better than the original. I'm sure a lot of people would definitely say that. So I'll take their word for it, but I still enjoyed this matchup. For them basically to go through a basic wrestling match instead of a no DQ match, it was a fantastic matchup. Chris Jericho, he hits a code breaker, gets a close 2 count. I don't think that at one point Kenny Omega was able to hit the one-winged angel, actually. I remember correctly, he tried setting it up so many times, but Chris Jericho did so many great points of, countering and just being able to find a way to fight out of it. It was just really well done. Chris Jericho was able to hit a second code breaker, and then he hit his new finisher, the Judas effect, which is like a back elbow to the face, which looked brutal. When you have the code breaker and that as a finishing combo, that's a pretty good finish. So Chris Jericho pins Kenny Omega. He is going to face off against Hangman Page for the AEW Championship to determine who will be the first ever AEW champion. And Chris Jericho, he gets on the microphone. He's saying, you need to respect me. You need to thank me. You need to thank me. But, the night was not over, ladies and gentlemen, because out comes a familiar face that you might have seen a few months ago on WWE programming, that being Dean John Moxley Ambrose. Or John Moxley Dean Ambrose Moxley, whatever. John Moxley comes to AEW, and he shocks everybody. He hits a, double arm DDT. I'm calling it the Moxley effect for right now. So he hits it on Chris Jericho. He hits it on the referee. He picks up Kenny Omega. He's going to do it to him. But then we see Kenny Omega and John Moxley. They get into a brawl against each other. They're beating each other down. They're beating each other by the chips that are up in the entryway into the entrance ramp. We see then John Moxley hit another Moxley effect on the chips. We see him do I guess you could call it a FU to Kenny Omega off the stage through some tables. John Moxley, he's just standing there just basically saying, yeah, I've arrived. I'm ready to do this. So we got another big star put in there. Solid A+. Honestly, this was probably my favorite matchup of the night. I loved the matchup between Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega the most. If I had to pick like a second one, it would probably be the women's six women's tag. That would have been my favorite one. So like I said at the top of the show, I gave this one a solid A+. This is a very hard event to really give it anything less than that. They give everything for this event. Of course, people are going to say that, there were some moments where I was like, meh, but then there's some moments that were like, oh, you have to kind of have that in order to keep people interested. You have to have moments where, you have fans kind of resting, they're relaxing. You can't always just go bang, 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 because people are going to be dead and in the water by like, if you start at 7, they're going to be dead and in bed by like 8:30, guarantee it. So for those that are kind of like, some matches were okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. Because then it gets you more excited for a lot of the other matches. It really gets you more excited for the higher up matches, the marquee matches. So, yeah, AEW Double or Nothing does a fantastic job. I'll also have to go into the prediction battles that we've had here. Between the championship matchup between Mr. Max Beatty and Mr. Kobe, It ended in a draw, which was sucky because I was hoping that we wouldn't have any draws for this event. But I am going to make an executive decision on this because of the fact that Cody did, in fact, do a prediction on who were going to be the final four participants announced for the Battle Royal. He retains the title because unfortunately Max Beatty did not do that. So I'm giving the advantage to Cody. Cody retains. And as for me and Mr. Fretz, very fortunate but also very happy to announce that the winner of the Golden Opportunity briefcase and the new one is indeed yours truly. And I'm not going to waste any time, ladies and gentlemen, as your new Golden Opportunity winner, I am cashing in that opportunity at SummerSlam. I'm going to be doing it for the entire SummerSlam weekend. Guarantee you that there's going to be a takeover event. There's going to be just an absolutely crazy deal. So the week of SummerSlam, anything that's prediction-wise, I'm going to be doing that. I'm cashing in on all of that. The winner of... I can't even talk right now. Whoever is the champion at that time, you better look out because I am indeed going to be the champion walking out. 15 years as a wrestling fan, it's time for me 15 years later to get the title that is indeed rightfully mine. And that is the Game Changer Championship. You better be ready because I don't need a Judas effect to beat you. All I need is to be a game changer. Let's face it, I'm NateFNGreat. There's not a damn thing you can do about it.